Born into a country where the color of one's skin determined one's fate, he spent a lifetime fighting for a country in which all its peoples would be equal.
It is an ideal for which I am prepared to die.
He got iron will. He set his mind doing something, and he becomes unshakable.
For 27 years, he continued his fight from behind prison walls.
He steeled himself. He separated his own personal anguish from what he knew he had to do to survive.
3 decades behind bars might have left him a defeated and forgotten man. Instead, he emerged from prison to lead his country to a new beginning.
Mandela is a leader, he's a fighter, was a freedom fighter. Sometimes he goes where angels may fear to tread. That's Mandela.
Now is the time. Vote Mandela for president.
As South Africa's first democratically elected president, he set out to deliver the basics: homes, water and electricity, along with justice and reconciliation. Later, the one-time political prisoner found himself an international political icon, while also finding a new wife and a measure of well-deserved happiness in his personal life.
Throughout our lifetime, we have fought against white domination and have fought against black domination.
February 11th, 1990, a remarkable sight. After 27 years behind bars, Nelson Mandela emerges from prison a free man. He had dedicated his life to the struggle to end the domination of one race by another, and his release promised an entirely new chapter in South Africa's history. It had been a long journey to this moment, a journey that had begun in a remote corner of this beautiful land. The Transkei region of South Africa, a remote land of rolling hills and glistening streams along the Indian Ocean. Here, on July 18, 1918, Nelson Mandela was born into African royalty. His father, a tribal chief, named his son Roli Shasha, which means troublemaker. The world of the young boy was a completely African one, unchanged for hundreds of years.
He was raised in a world apart. It was basically an African world. He didn't grow up amidst whites and have the feeling of inferiority that a lot of Africans do, because his whole world was the world of his mother and father, his world of his village. It was a ritualistic society. Families mattered. He was a herd boy. He went out and herded cattle in the morning. He drank milk from the cow's udders. It was the most simple kind of existence you can imagine.
The idyllic life of a village child ended abruptly for Nelson when he was just 9. His father died, and he was taken from his mother to live at the Great Place under the guardianship of the regent, the ruler of the Tembu people. Here, he would be groomed for leadership.
Did suffer.
South Africa in 1941 was not just a country of Africans ruled by whites. It was a country in which Africans were forced to face their diminished status every day of their lives, from morning till night. Separation from whites, that's what defined absolutely an African's life. From the hospital he was born in, to the bus that took him home, to the school he attended. When he reached adulthood, his job was an African's only job. His home, an African's only home. He could be stopped anytime, anywhere, and forced to show his passbook, documents which listed the areas he could enter. For the first time in his life, Mandela saw himself as a black man in a white society. Very soon after his arrival in Johannesburg, in his search for work, he was introduced to Walter Sisulu, a prominent African businessman active in the African National Congress.
He impressed me at once. His demeanor, his manner of approach, and he was a bright, lively young man.
Sisulu saw how powerful a leader of the fight Nelson could become. At this time, the African National Congress was a group made up of activists fighting to end racial injustice through the most moderate means: boycotts, letters, and petitions. For Sisulu, being presented with a man as educated and as regal as Nelson was a dream come true. June 12th, 1964. South African Supreme Court in Pretoria, Nelson Mandela, now 45 years old, was convicted with 7 others of conspiracy to overthrow the government. They were sentenced to life in prison. He served at Robben Island, the Alcatraz of South Africa, a rocky, barren island surrounded by rough seas some 7 miles off the coast of Cape Town.
We studied outwards. Our job is to crush those things. And this is what we do. In 5 years' time, nobody will know the name of the country.
Robben Island was an unimaginably harsh place, completely cut off from the outside world, a place where all life and all time was stopped cold. Here, there were no clocks allowed, no newspapers. The lights burned 24 hours a day. In his first year here, Nelson was allowed just one visit from his wife Winnie. It would be another 2 years before he could see her again. It would be 20 years before he could even touch her hand. Inside Robben Island, apartheid was even more brutally imposed than it was outside. Even in the very necessities of life, Mandela and the other black prisoners received the least of everything.
When we had to change into prison clothes, they were all given short pants, I was given long pants. They were given no socks. And the regulation stipulated they should have been wearing sandals, or they were given shoes as a favor. When it came to food again, there was discrimination. Less sugar for them, just boiled mealies at lunch, no bread, less meat, less fish.
From the first day, Mandela was determined never to give in, never to allow himself to be defeated here. He would never submit to disrespect or mistreatment. On the contrary, he would demand respect due any man. It was this certainty about what's right that allowed him to survive.
The time for the healing of the wounds has come. The moment to bridge the chasms that divide us has come. The time to build is upon us. We have at last achieved our political emancipation. We pledge ourselves to liberate all our people from the continuing bondage of poverty, deprivation, suffering, gender, and other discrimination. We commit ourselves to the construction of a complete, just, and lasting peace. We understand it still that there is no easy road to freedom. We know it well that none of us acting alone can achieve success. We must therefore act together as a united people for national reconciliation, for nation building, for the birth of a new world. Let there be justice for all. Let there be peace for all. The sun shall never set on so glorious a human achievement. Let freedom reign. I thank you.